Hello, this is part 4 of the addiction series. The first part was about defining addiction. The second part was about the process addiction to abuse. The third part was about codependence. And the fourth part is good news. It's about recovery. Let me tell you something. There is recovery. I've seen it. I've done it. I know it. So, if I look like a person who knows what they're talking about, that you can trust me. There is recovery. And you're not alone. I choke up when I say that. In your recovery. Sometimes you have to find these people who can be your companions during recovery. Let me erase this first of all, so that I can see you and you can see me. Excuse me just a second. Get a bigger eraser. Zip, zip, zip. There, thank God it doesn't erase me or get rid of that mole right there. I'm gonna have to have some rid of that thing. It runs in our family. My son has that mole. Same place. Interesting. Piece of trivia for you. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Oh well. So, addiction is caused by many things. The result's the same. And you can spend a lot of time saying, why am I an addict? Why am I an addict? Why am I an addict? But understanding the cause, the reason why you got into this addiction is about as important as understanding why you smoked the first cigarette after 30 years of smoking. You could spend a lot of time, and yet you're going to come right back to where you are, and that is that what you really need to know is you have an illness, and it can be cured. Those are the two important things. You have an illness, it is an illness, and it can be cured. I get very upset. No, I don't fall in a heap, but when I see people talking about addicts on TV shows like Slime Bags and bums and this and that, as if they're not human beings who are in the throes of addiction, who are gripped by the throat by addiction, who are being torn apart and by addiction. So please know it's an illness, and it has nothing to do with being, less than human being. Some people claim that you can, drink again after you've recovered. I doubt it. Why bother with the risk? But whatever it is you've recovered from, if you're still struggling with urges, you are not healed. And you need to dedicate yourself to rooting this illness out so you are free, because it's about becoming free. So we're going to look at the process of recovery. Probably one of the best diagrams I ever saw was by John Bradshaw. And I think you could probably find his video on YouTube about healing the shame that binds you. It's probably an hour-long show. Here's a diagram. It was in his book, Healing the Shame That Binds You, but it really had a lot of errors in it. It was very confusing until I finally figured out there were some misprints in it. Let me show this to you so you can see it. If you email me, I will send you this chart. Okay. Well, I'll say this, that there are 3 ways that people recover. There's 12-step groups, there's counseling, and then there is self-help. Okay? So the first 2 rings can be dealt with in, for example, a 12-step program, and with people who also are in recovery, and So some of those things in the outer ring, just think of it like a pearl. And what you're really trying to do is get down to the core that's generating all the energy, that's driving this whole thing, which is a way of life. So you'll find down here a thing called a shame core. It's like, I call it a shame sandwich. And it's kept in place by hurt and loneliness. And shame is very painful. And so we start building up layers of defense around it. Okay? So let's start with the outer layer, because they're the easiest to deal with. And nothing's easy here. But these are self-indulging habits. Okay? And they're just really kind of like biting your nails kind of thing, like handling the energy that's spinning out of here. Like grandiosity is one. Repetition compulsions, which would be again like biting your nails. Addiction to some substance or process. And then what's over there? Reenactments, which is how to describe that? It's like playing out a game that maybe your dad was an alcoholic, and you start reenacting, basically filling his shoes and acting out the alcoholic. These self-indulging habits, and there are others, but can be dealt with in like a 12-step group. The second line is character defenses, and some of those are being a control freak. Boy, it's hard for me to point backwards. Control freak, being critical and contemptuous of others. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Blaming others. And that one is raging, etc., etc. I can send you the chart if you email me at asdjones@gmail.com and ask for the chart on the shame core, and I'll send it to you. But there's a lot of this stuff on the outside can be taken care of in 12-step groups, a lot of it. And right there is a lot of pain reduction in itself. But when you get down to the third ring, this is the family systems setup, understood a lot by Sharon Wegschreider-Cruz and Claudia Black and others. And if you haven't heard of these terms, go on the Google dysfunctional family roles, roles in the alcoholic family, etc. And these are personalities that people adopt as defense mechanisms, such as being the high achiever, or being the scapegoat, getting into trouble all the time, or being a little clown, etc. These are family roles. You think this is you. You really think these roles are you. They're not you. They're just clothes you put on, a costume you put on to handle the pain of whatever the pain is coming from. Again, you could spend a lot of time BSing or chit-chatting about it, but it's usually only in counseling do you get to this third layer. And then we get to the fourth layer, and these are what we call primary process defenses, some of which Freud talked about, like dissociation and displacement. And we have denial and the family spell, which is, my family's fine, when really it's full of all kinds of illness. And the fantasy bond, which says, the fantasy bond is best explained by saying that my parents are here for me, when the truth is you're here for your parents. This is one example of the fantasy bond. We're all, we really care about you, but that's just words only, that it's really not caring. That's really a much deeper issue, and that requires not counseling, but therapy. Okay, and therapy can be inpatient. Often it is, but you got some serious peeling of layers to do here. You can do some of it yourself in 12-step groups and self-help. And you start getting here to the third ring, you've got counseling, and then down here in the middle, you've got therapy. Okay, look, there's tears, but tears won't kill you. But you do have to go through a little bit of pain city to get pain free. You may have to experience some of the things from the past and relive those, but you'll be in a safe environment. It's just a feeling that it's going to get you. Here's the problem: if you don't, addictions just get worse. They don't get better. And even if you white knuckle it, you just, I'm not drinking, I'm not going to drink, or inside you're just itching to go gambling, but you're just walking around and watching some on TV and preoccupying yourself, but it's always calling you. The track is calling you, or poker is calling you, gambling on the web, etc. Is calling you. If you've got those urges going on, that's pain, and it'll run your life, and that's the last thing you want. What do we want? We want to be in control of our lives and know how to run them in a healthy, happy, meaningful way that serves not only ourselves but others, and we enjoy doing it. Truly enjoy it. To be lighthearted, to enjoy life, to be enthused, and to be healthy mentally, physically, emotionally is what it's all about. Because then you truly can just enjoy every day. I had a client say to me once, she says, you're always so happy, she says. I said, well, I'm not happy all day, but I suppose, yeah, every day I'm happy, some part of the time. She says, I haven't been happy for 6 months. It just broke my heart. I couldn't even fathom that. And then I thought, yes, I can. I remember a time when I thought the world was crushing me. And another time when I just felt like everybody wanted a piece of me, and I couldn't give up enough. And I was just tired, burnt out, stressed out. So I'm a living example of recovery, and there's thousands of us who recovered. You just have to take the first step, and then the second and the third, and you'll get there. The good thing is, even though it can be a long road, every day you're getting better, rather than every day you're getting worse. So just because it's a long road, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be on it. And I don't know what else to say to you except research, learn, and be willing to reach out for help. There is a lot of help, and remember, you're not alone. So asdjones at gmail.com. I'm Anthony Dallmann-Jones. And again, this is the fourth part in the series. If you didn't see the other 4 parts, or 3 parts, they're here on YouTube. And this wraps up the series on addiction. So it's been an honor and a pleasure. And be healthy. Be happy. Find your meaning in life. It's there. Recovery is often not about fixing something. It's about uncovering the real you. It's there. It's been waiting. It's just been covered up sometimes.